All right, welcome back to Waking the People. I am your host, Sir Chad Everett Broshears, and I am with my co-host. Take it away, co-host.
Uh, hey guys, how's it going? Joshua McClendon here. If you guys like Chad and our show, please don't forget to subscribe. If there was something in the show that you maybe disagreed with or you did agree with, feel free and please leave a comment. We love feedback. And if you really liked it, please don't forget to hit that like button. That really helps us with YouTube's algorithm. So please don't forget to do that. And I hope you enjoy the show.
Yeah, also, my preference on the Rumble side of things, hit that little punch icon because Rumble is an up-and-coming and fantastic, not dumpster fire platform that'll help us get a lot more traction and also monetize a bit easier than the garbage fire of YouTube. Although we're still using it. We're still using YouTube. We're using the platforms that we can. So yes, by all means, please do like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications where the bell notifications are available, and that'll help you keep up with us. For those that caught us last week, I want to put one thing out. I switched up a pre-workout a little bit, add a tiny bit more than I probably should have. And that's one of the reasons why I seemed like I had a caffeinated tantrum. So I did have a caffeinated tantrum. So with that, there's going to be a few things. We have had some conversations because we have a lot of great and loyal fans and followers, which is fantastic. So we're going to touch a little bit on that as well. Some of the feedback that we've been getting. And so with that, this is the show. So let's get right into it. Joshua's got a few things that he wants to throw out there, and I'm going to act like a child and react to it.
Well, before we get started, I just wanted to say, so Chad and I, we live in the Tampa Bay area, and I'm sure that some of our viewers or most of our viewers live in the Tampa Bay area. And this is a big weekend in a lot of ways. So the Super Bowl's in Tampa, right? So we got our home team in our home stadium hosting the Super Bowl, okay? And we were out last night. We saw that, restaurants were popping, bars were popping, people were out and about, spending money, stimulating the economy. And this is just at a very, very small percentage of what it should be for a normal Super Bowl. And I just got to say hats off to Florida. And it's funny because if you look around, especially the political world, all you see is people criticizing Florida, especially Democrats, and saying, oh, Florida should shut down. They should, stop doing what they're doing. And here we are killing it. I saw my first report yesterday of the China virus cases going down. First report, I think they were down 28% in 14-day span. Death rates are down 10%. Hospitalizations are down 12%. So we're doing a pretty good job in Florida. So if you're in the Tampa Bay area, enjoy this because this really is, even if you're not a football fan, I mean, football is part of American culture. This is one of the few things in America that we've kind of cultivated into a culture. So with that being said, enjoy the Super Bowl, enjoy all the things that it brings to our town. And I hope if you're in the restaurant industry, in the bar industry, if you're in any hospitality field, I hope you reap all the benefits of this so we can get past this COVID-19, shutdown crap and get back to where we used to be economically for sure. So it's, go Bucks. I'm excited.
Yeah. And I'll blow it out there too. I'm going to actually throw out a little bit of cheering for the C19, and that is congratulations to this virus. I mean, this thing is so incredibly awesome that it has cured so many diseases. Last year itself, I mean, it really reduced cancer. It reduced a lot of diseases. And I mean, that's a miracle virus. If anything, probably one we should praise. That's on Sunday. Maybe we should make a little church to it, throw some praise out to it because It's done an awesome job. I don't know if anybody's catching how facetious I'm being about this subject, but anyway, all right, moving on. As far as the Tampa Bay area and with this fantastic opportunity, Super Bowl's rolling around, Buccaneers are in, they're going to, who the hell knows? Joshua's going to be the sports fan on this one. I'm just going to be the guy that acts like I know what I'm talking about. Like I just joined a fantasy football league and have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I'm just there to hang out with people. Yeah, we've got from the White House, the C19 task force had said that they wanted the Tampa Bay area to shut down bars and restaurants so that not to spread anymore. And what I hear when that came up is, by all means, if the economy is starting to grow, kill it quick. I think they're just exchanging economy for C-19. So, C-19 starts to rise up, economy. Let's take it out. So you got to be dependent on the state, my man.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's amazing. It's the biggest watched event of the year. I think, I don't know if I'm 100% if it's worldwide, but it's worldwide. So literally, I mean, anyone who's anybody is in Tampa right now. So enjoy it. A little bit more, pressing matters for all my Second Amendment lovers, including myself. So I took a look at the new gun control proposal.
HR1.
Have you seen that? Have you seen the new
HR1.
one? Yeah, it's called I had to write it down, so I got to look at my notes. HR 571715 is the name of the bill. Now, if you haven't looked into this bill, I'm pretty certain that this is a Second Amendment in one generation killer. Like if this actually goes through and it holds, this will be a Second Amendment will be gone. So I'm going to go ahead and have to read from my list because there's a lot on there. The first one is that there's going to be a mandate for all guns to be registered. Now, in some states, if you're not really familiar with the Second Amendment, some states do not require you to register guns. I don't think Florida does. I know Georgia doesn't. I don't think Texas does. But of course, like California, New York, you do have to register guns. So, but they would make a national federal mandate for all gun owners. So that means they would know who has the guns. That's why they want to do it. They want to know who has what. They want to know what is what. And if you don't do it, they're going to penalize you, either by taking your guns away or by hefty fines. So that's number one. There's going to be
do you have the penalty?
The penalty itself, let's see.
It's like $65,000 or was it imprisonment?
Oh, so that actually is the numbers, 65K.
The last time when I was looking into it, it was like $65,000 is the fine and or imprisonment for failure to register your firearm. Now, that's
a hefty. Not to mention gun tax 30%. So they're going to increase taxes on guns 30%. They're going to increase tax on ammo 50%. So a 50% increase on bullets, and they're going to try to make it to where you cannot buy them online. Because now, I mean, it's awesome. If you're a gun owner and you shoot a lot, man, you can just go to the web, any website on the internet, click in, they're in your house 2 days later. It's so convenient, and a lot of times it's cheaper than going to like a gun store. But to not allow it to be sold online, that's already going to make it more expensive. Not to mention 50% more increase on tax. You have to be 21 or older to purchase in this new mandate, which, to be honest, like that didn't really like rattle my gears too much. I mean, if you're, I think they should put something in there that says, okay, if you're hunting with a parent or like if you're with a guardian, okay, you can operate. But being 21 to buy a gun, some people are gonna have a problem with that, but that one didn't grind my gears too much.
And to add to that too, they've had 18 you could buy a rifle. You had to be 21 to buy a sidearm, a handgun. So that's what the law has been in Florida. Now every state has their own laws, but as far as that goes, that would just be moving the rifle piece to 21. So
exactly.
It's not a major thing, but it is a thing. It does take away a right to individuals. So we're going to lower the voting age, right? That's one of the things that they want to do, right? We want to take people with less of a prefrontal cortex development, which is the rational adult side of you, and lower it to 16 because they vote off emotion, and that's predominantly what the left likes. Now, again, also, you know what? I'm going to get to something, and then we're going to cut Facebook Live a little early today. But I do want to get to something. But once we get through HR 530, whatever the Niner, once we get through that, I'm gonna throw something in at the piece there at the end.
And here's one of the worst parts of it, I feel, is that what they're going to say is, in order to buy a gun, you have to do what's called a live fire exercise, but it's going to be federally run. So that's like a class or like a course where you go and you demonstrate how you can fire a firearm, right? It's similar now. It's not very in depth. It's actually, if you ever take a concealed weapons class, just like the basic, it's not really much, but they're going to make it federally mandated that you have to go and do a federal course. But here's the kicker. How are you supposed to do the course if you can't buy a gun? And they will not provide you a gun, and they will not provide ammo. So they're just saying you can't buy it. Well, if I can't take the live fire course because I need to buy a gun, and I can't buy a gun because I haven't taken the live fire course. So it's There you go. There's your Second Amendment. And you can buy one gun per month. That's the limit, one gun per month. I mean, that's just control. They're controlling the supply. So that should tell you something. If they want to cut down supply of guns to Americans, then there's some other stuff at work there. You know, the number one thing as far as like totalitarian like takeovers is disarm their citizens, number one. Number two, control the media. And number three, I guess you could control the economy. I'm not sure actually what the third proper one is, but controlling the economy is definitely in there as well. There's a lot, but one of the big ones is disarming your citizens. It's what Hitler did.
Yeah. There's a lot of the Hitler did it. Kim Jong-un, they've made sure that North Korea has not been able to hold firearms individually. In mainland China, if you're not in the Communist Party and you're not part of the military, you are not allowed. There's a lot of places that they don't want armed citizens. They don't want the potential of them being able to rival or to say, no, we're not going to take it. France is also a pretty big one for, not having firearms and all of that. But we see what happens with them. They're the ones that do actually protest often. But you also see what happens to them on the world stage. Anyway, all right. So
not only that, when you look at the gun numbers, like as far as if you look at countries that have really strict gun control laws and you look at their violent crime, sometimes it's more.
Yep.
So like we know that controlling gun supply and heavy gun control does not lead to less crime. And most people who have guns and use them are not the ones buying them legally. They're buying them illegally because one, you can't really trace them. You can modify them. If you don't, you have to pass a background check to get a legal firearm. There's your paper trail. If you buy it illegally, there's no paper trail. So all you're doing is you're taking away the rights from people who will use the firearm correctly and legally and giving them into the hands of people who wouldn't use them correctly and legally. So it defeats the purpose. It has nothing to do with them worried about guns. They could do a lot more if they actually wanted to kind of control guns. Like if we wanted to limit the loss of life, we could do a whole lot more, but that's not what it's about. It's about control. It's about taking it away.
I agree. Yeah. And it's also, if you look at it, when you look at violent crime, look at the UK. The UK has roving bands of people attacking others with knives. Knife attacks in the UK are so significantly higher than our violent crime rates here. We'd actually need to pull the statistics to show people this, but I don't have that up right now, but because it just came up in the subject. But that's one that people don't realize. Like, it's not a gun that hurts people. It's the intent behind the person that's using it.
Yep.
So that's the one that hurts people. If we make it illegal, look what happens. We have people that target public places that have like a declaration of disarmament, right? Schools. They're supposed to be safe places. So there's anti-guns, right? Well, you go into the school, you want to target rich environment. That's why they choose schools. That's why they choose places that say that there's no guns allowed, because they get the mass amount of opportunities and the greatest opportunity for public awareness, the infamy of it, because they've got something that they want to prove. So that's why they choose places like that. The illegal market. Look at at drugs. Have we been able to get rid of heroin, cocaine, and all the other drugs that are the ones that, like we've listed as illegal? Now, that's a strong argument, but most people, what they do is they confuse this idea. They've never bought a gun. They weren't raised in a home. I was raised in a home with firearms. They don't know, like, there's a gun safety course that I took it when I was like 8 years old. So I've known how to handle firearms since before I even got into school. But then I took a course when I was 8 while I was in school to how to safely use guns. But my father taught me how to safely use them. You do have to go through a background check in order to get a firearm. You cannot go up and just get one. There's some gun show loopholes and stuff like that I got to learn more about. But as far as when you go to buy one at a store, you are not going to walk in and go, here's $800. Give me that firearm. I'm taking it with me. A lot of people that buy into this whole gun control debate where they're like, oh, it's better to have it. They've never even gone in to buy one to realize that a lot of the shit that they're saying on the front end of this stuff is already taking place. They know I have my firearm. They know the serial numbers to my gun and who bought that damn gun. They know who owns it. So you can call it a registry or not. They know who has it. I didn't just go in, give them money, and walk away with a firearm. Now, the same day, you have to go through a background check. It's 5 days to 7 days on average, depending on the influx of purchasing, because it overloads the system. So it took me 5 days to get through my background check in order to get my last firearm. So if you think, well, that's not a bad thing once a month and all of this and moving the age from 18 to 21 and all that's not a bad thing. When is it ever stopped when a proposal was made? The proposal gets made, then they get to do what they want to do after that. They continue. Now, a lot of the stuff is not going to be in bill form. It's supported under the bill, the umbrella of the bill, so they can start moving stuff around. Do you know that during the Obama era, they did put a mandate, like there's not a mandate. It was in one of the bills. It was HR something. I forgot what it was. But it was, they limited your ability to be able to grow your own food in your yard. They could have I forgot which branch of legal branch they'd have come into your home and take your things and fine you if you were growing your own or catching your own rainwater.
Agriculture?
It was an agriculture bill that went through.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Yeah,
right?
But yeah, so that was during the Obama administration. They did not actually enforce it where they're going in, but they had that in their back pocket in the event that they needed to have access to something because they suspected you were wanting to go after you for something. The same as like, they went after Capone for his taxes because they couldn't get him on anything else. Right? Same concept. There's just figuring out a way that they could actually get to you if they had to in the event that you're covered by something else. Just be aware that whenever bills like that go into place, it's not like the, oh my God, Chicken Little. It's the, you don't know what's behind it. And when you give a little, they seem to love to take a mile. You give a little bit and you're like, you know what, fine. But the problem is right now, we don't really have much say-so in it. All three branches are controlled now by the left. So brings me to my next point that I mentioned that I wanted to bring up before we drop Facebook Live. And that is from some of the feedback that we've been getting, some people are not necessarily clear about our position, where we sit politically and how we view things and where we stand as the Castle Rock of who we are. So I'm going to throw mine out there so that there's a lot of clarity on this. And then Joshua, you're welcome to, you don't have to.
Okay.
But
those come out there.
All right. So my position is this. I was raised with conservative values. I was raised with firearms. I was raised with hard work will yield good results and rewards. I've got a lot of conservative values when it comes to the way that I was brought up. I also have liberal views at times on certain subjects. It does not make me a liberal and it does not make me a conservative. I am a non-party affiliated person. What does that mean? I do not like, personally, I do not like party line voting. I hate party line voting. You're going to vote on a party line because it's your team, or you're going to vote on a bill that makes sense and somebody who supports the people versus I support my party. The party's going to do good for me. No, that's not my position. My position is this. If you're an absolute jackass, I'm going to call you out for being a jackass. If you have something going on and you're the worst of the two evils, which seems to be what we play in politics, then I'm going to call that out. I'm going to say, you know what? You're the worst of the two evils between Hillary and Clinton, or Hillary, whatever, Hillary. And frickin' or Carol Baskin, whatever, for the politics side of it.
Same person.
Yeah, I think it actually is too. It's just when she takes off her makeup, it's Carol Baskin. Puts her makeup on, it's Hillary Clinton. Versus Trump. At the time, I didn't vote because I didn't care. Although in hindsight, I'm glad Trump went in because Hillary is a horrible problem. Benghazi, I will not forget what happened for Benghazi. And she tries to sweep it under the rug and all the shit that she's done. No, Benghazi will not be forgotten. There are people that lost their family members, their loved ones, that did it, that made a pledge to the United States that they would do what was best for the United States interests. And she was one that was elected to do, she was appointed to do things for the United States interests in foreign countries. And she let those people down. She let those people down and buried it. If that had been on the other side where there wasn't as much political positioning so that there was less support for her political party and for who she is, then that would have been something she would have been strung up for. But she wasn't because a large part of the political system is also favoring her. If that had been Trump, oh God, he'd been drugged through the streets.
Yeah, it's true. They would.
So when it comes to this, if you want to know where my flag sits in the ground, my flag sits in the ground on common sense. I'm a constitutionalist and I'm more of a libertarian, but I'm not a libertarian party. I'm just more of, I don't want bigger government If anything, we should reduce it a bit, but I'm not an anarchist. And an anarchist has no government. We can do our own thing. For people that are anarchists, I'm sorry, I think you're an idiot. If you look at the maturity level for the people in our country, anarchy would have us kill each other because we're not mature enough. But a libertarian, again, I'm not a full-blown libertarian, but they're more or less the government. They also don't want a lot of foreign involvement too, but they're more of just living free. I'm up for that, but I'm not up for the Libertarian Party to back it as like a mindless drone that punches the ticket. I'm not going to do that. So if you want to know where I stand, flag in the ground, non-party affiliate. I support the Constitution and want to see the Constitution stay as it is, not modified to take things away from us so we slowly drift off into something else. And I would rather see a little less government than more government. So our money goes to these people at the top. They're the ones that get their salaries paid by us. And the bigger it gets, where the hell is that money coming from? They live on the economy. They live at the top of the economy. That's where they're at. They get the money from us. So a little less government, a little less taxes. All right. You work hard for your money. These people are making decisions with your money and then taking it and turning it around and punishing you with some of those decisions. That's where I stand. Flags in the ground. I'm not a diehard Trump supporter. For all you people that'll be disappointed in that, I think he did a great job on this country. For the others that are going to be disappointed in that, you kiss my ass. I don't care. I am not a diehard Trump supporter. I think he did a good job. Could he have done better? Yeah. But screw you for saying that he's like, he didn't do a good enough job. You're not there. You didn't earn your way there. You're going to sit back and be a critic over it. Shut up. Just shut up. If you're going to get better at it and offer solutions versus criticisms, then I'll listen. But if you're just going to sit there and criticize, screw you. All right. I'm trying to produce solutions to challenges that people are going through. Joshua and I are dedicating time out of our lives to try to create a better place for people. But first, you have to be able to reach the mindset of the individuals that are doing things to try to at least bring us together. Going further apart is only creating more problems. So when you want to know where I'm at, that's where I'm at. Non-party affiliate. I'm trying to use common sense in the things that I say. And you know what? Humor helps. Humor bridges the gap where there's a distance. We can disagree, but if I disagree with you in a little bit of a humorous way, there's a pretty good chance you're going to appreciate my view and possibly share it versus going, that jackass, which is the final thing. And I'm going to throw it over to Joshua. So if he's going to throw his out there, then fantastic. I recently had an interaction with somebody on social media, and this person, one thing I will not tolerate in a conversation and or debate is a straw man behavior. If you position me and put words in my mouth and say something horrendous as if I am to be that and force me into your direction of an argument, I'm going to remove you. I'm going to ban you. I'm going to treat you in exile, because that is a very dishonest way of being a conversation that is very dishonest. So straw manning somebody else is a weak way of creating an argument, and it's a childish behavior, and I will not tolerate it. So if you get banned from my social medias for those reasons and blocked, that's why, because you just acted like a child. Now, humor does not mean I'm being a child. Humor means I'm trying to entertain an idea that works, but I will not put words in your mouth. If anything, I'll steel man your argument, which means I will help fortify what you're saying to better understand it. But if you straw man me, you're done. I'm not going to spend my time on you. So there it is. Thanks for coming to my TED rant. Now I'm going to throw it over to my buddy, Joshua.
TED rant. So let's see. That's an interesting question. So I've always voted Republican. Now I don't completely identify.
What's your pronoun?
Right. Dang it. I harmed myself. I don't always like just stick to the script of being like a conventional straight up Republican. I do have some more democratic views. Like I believe in Social Security. I believe in unemployment benefits. I believe in welfare for those that can afford to make it on their own. So I do have some pretty, I guess you could say, liberal ideas, which I don't like either. I think we need to get this clear that we're all liberals. Like being a liberal, it just means it's our type of government. So people who identify more as Republican or conservative, that would actually be called classical liberalism. So it's not just the left that's a liberal. So we all have some liberal ideas, right? That's why we have the government that we have. But the Democratic Party's just been it's been so off the rails. I mean, I respect a lot of Democratic, currently in office, past in office. My favorite president is JFK. So, I mean, he was a Democrat. So we just got to get back to, I guess, more of the middle. Like we've kind of had this shift, and especially with, like Trump kind of, shaking things up, which is a good thing. I think that was what was needed. I'm not so much about the political ideologies that follow each party. I kind of focus more on the structure of our government, like the fact that we just need term limits. Like the people that we get in office should be there to do a job at a certain amount of time. It should be crunch time. It should be, okay, let's go. It's your turn. Like we got to get this going. You have 4 years or X 2 years or whatever position you're in, and we got to get it going. You have to work. You have to produce. You have to follow through with what you said you're going to do, not just sit there and milk the clock like Mitch McConnell and be here from like 1976 and he's still there. Like we need it to be more of best man for the job. And that's why I was so about Trump, is because he had no stake in the game. He was just like, listen, I'm just going to go in there and do the best I can. I'll do it for free. I don't really care too much about what maybe some people who don't like me or oppose what I feel about me. I'm just going to do what I feel is best. And I feel like in most cases, if we can get someone who's not in it for themselves and who's actually genuine in their approach to trying to better America, then that's the people we need to put in office. I mean, great example is George Washington didn't want to be president. They were like, you have to do it. And he was like, he really didn't want to do it. So it shouldn't be a career move. It should be like I guess you could say a career of some type, but it should be, most people who are politicians are lawyers. They're very, very smart most of the time, very, very smart individuals. They at least have their shit together somehow. So let's take the best of those who also have a little bit of, maybe life experience, and they can kind of relate to people a little bit more, instead of like Mitt Romney, who can only relate to like some stallion out there in Utah, wherever he is, but like actually kind of relate to one another. And let's put them in office and let's make it happen. It should be like the Super Bowl. We're talking about the Super Bowl. We're trying to win the game. You got 4 quarters. Okay, you got 4 years. Go win the game. And the next guy comes in, he wins the game or she wins the game. I'm more about results. I could care.
Yep.
I'm less about control, right? So the left has a lot of control that they're pushing right now. But let's say, Biden wasn't so, he wasn't trying to push these kind of crazy left radical ideas through and control more. If he was just like, listen, this is what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do the best I can. And I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And he goes and does it. Hey, if it works out, it works out. If not, I wouldn't complain. So results, That's what we need.
I agree. No, that's so glad you shared your side on it as well. So if anything, put your flag in the ground on it. Right.
Flag in the ground, a little bit of everything.
Flag in the ground, baby. Yeah. So, all right. We're going to go ahead and drop off Facebook Live. So let's do a sign off here for them. Okay. Now we're off of our live section. So Joshua's next subject. Go ahead, take it away, brother.
My man. So I've been talking about Ron DeSantis for a long time. If I had to put my flag in the ground, Ron DeSantis is my dude. But anyway, Ron DeSantis is finally taking a step that all these spineless rhinos and almost every politician, especially on the left side, some even on the right side, have refused to do, and that's fight back against big tech. So I don't know how he's going to do it, but he has put his stake in the ground. He's putting his flag in the ground about how, that Facebook doesn't have the right to deplatform people, especially some who have different ideas or different political views more than others. For example, right, Trump is still deplatformed. I don't think he has anything back yet, due to what Facebook says is spreading conspiracy theories, telling lies, just completely lying pretty much on his giant platform that he has, calling for the election being, rigged and fake. That was really what they put their stake in the ground. As far as Facebook goes, they mentioned that they really felt that he was, misconstruing the truth on as far as the election goes. But if you look back at the past, man, Nancy Pelosi, back in 2016 when Trump won the presidential election, she was saying, they all did it. They were all saying that the election was stolen and that, Russia was the reason why that Trump had won. And this led us into this, $41 million something crazy, lawsuit where, they're investigating to see if Trump's election was by Russia. Of course, they found nothing. So it went on for 4 years of all these people in power using their, Facebook or Twitter or social media platforms to misconstrue the truth. If you say the 2016 election, which they definitely did, was controlled by Russia, and then we do an investigation and we find nothing, then you were lying. There was no truth to that. And I love how they gave the Democrats are able to have an investigation, but they never gave Trump that right to have an investigation into whether or not the election was misconstrued or not. Yeah. So finally we got somebody who's saying, listen, guys, eventually I think it's going to lead to the First Amendment being amended to add in social media. That's really what I think what's going to have to do. Now, I don't really know if they can do that at a state level, just because of Facebook. I'm not really sure how that all works, but it's going to start. You're going to start seeing some more government regulation of big tech finally.
Yeah, it's like you said, Ron DeSantis, the man. I absolutely am so incredibly glad that he won, because really we wouldn't have known, but what a freaking awesome governor. This guy is definitely for the people. You can see this. He's more of the conservative side of things, and definitely got the flag in the ground on him too, man. We're fortunate to have Ron DeSantis over Florida. And as far as the Mitch McConnell and all of that, dude, guys and gals, look for some of the merch we're about to create, because Mitch McConnell is going to be on that. There's actually several of the politicians that are going to be on that. So, yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, I'm going to have fun with these. Anyway, all right. So, yeah, Ron, awesome governor. I appreciate you looking into that as well. I do think that the First Amendment is going to take some alteration. Sorry. I don't know what direction it's going to go in, but big tech has been able to manipulate. If you think about it on an individual level, how do you gain information? So when you look at social media, when you read the newspaper, you either read it with trust or distrust. It's pretty much the middle. There's no middle line on that. So you have the I trust this news source because it's been a publication for X amount of time, or they've written things that have been proven to be true, or they write things that I seem to feel better by reading. So you have to look at the way that those authority pieces work. And when you look at publications, news, and things like that, whether it's print or if it's the video, the actual news stations. Now, when it comes to social media, you have another element that gets put into play. You have your emotional connection with the person that's publishing it. And then those that support the idea. Now you see other individuals that like, and trust that also find value in what they just read, versus you read the newspaper, it's a publication, but you're not sure who's reading it. On social media, you can see who supports the ideas. Excuse me, it's not COVID.
China virus.
Yeah, that's right. We're not allowed to say that anymore, right? Executive order? I don't know.
Say it. That's what it is. When did they do that?
Supposedly one of the executive orders, but at this point, I think there was an executive order on how much cheese you can get at Chuck E. Cheese.
What a waste. So here's
if Biden's going to hang out there after all, whatever. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
So DeSantis, I asked myself, okay, what are they going to do? Because we hear regulation so much, and we think, all right, well, what are they actually going to do to prevent, deplatforming or, censoring certain content over other content? So what he's proposed is, it's actually kind of cool. So they're going to do, if you deplatform, one of the penalties is if you deplatform any political figure from their, whatever it may be, Twitter, Facebook. This one's talking about Facebook, not necessarily big tech. So I guess we'll just stick to Facebook in there. It's going to be a $100,000 fine. And another cool thing that I think is going to be probably the most important and something that really affects all of our lives is they're going to make it an option whether or not you want Facebook, Twitter, Instagram to be able to save your data. So like whenever you use your phone and you go on the internet and you look at things, they're gaining information from you. That's what that data is. And they keep it. And they have this it's big tech. If you haven't looked into how like tech works and all that kind of stuff, it's scary. Like they know where you go. I mean, they can follow you on your GPS, but it'll limit that. It'll make it to where instead of just saying, oh, read this terms of agreement, and it's this giant, page with all these little words that no one reads, and we just hit, yep, I accept. It's actually going to be like much more simple. It says, do you want your data to be saved or not? So you can opt out. So that's that'll freaking really cut some stuff down. And then just, again, sticking to no deplatforming of political figures or people that hold public office. And if you do, then, the fine, right? If it's just completely speculation, then there's going to be more, okay, well, we won't remove Nancy, but we'll remove Trump, so there'll be a little bit more tightness in the regulation.
Yeah. I mean, shit, what is it? Oh shit. I forgot the hell. You have the Iranian president still allowed to be on Facebook and Twitter and all these social medias. You've got, what is it? I forgot the head guy, the Tully, crap. I'll remember it after this, and then I'm going to look like an absolute asshole because I forgot it. But he's one of the extremists that actually give direction to a lot of people in the Islamic faith, the radicalists and Islam. And he's allowed to also. Motion detected at the driveway. Hey, look at that! Got a little motion detected at the driveway.
Is that Jeffrey?
At the front door.
Pardon. Hold on 1 second, okay?
Yeah.
All right, guys and gals. Sorry about that. I actually had somebody here. They're doing some services around my house. So we just finished up talking about Ron DeSantis. So we're going to step into the next subject. So Joshua, when you're ready, take it away, brother.
Yeah, it's this week there was a lot of stuff going on, but I kind of nitpicked the ones I thought were the most, I guess, the major changes or major, whether they be bills or actions. The next one I want to talk about was the removal of Taylor Greene from her position. I guess the House, they decided to remove her from her 2 committee assignments over the accusations or the use of Facebook or Twitter to use to spread. It was hard to understand, but what they were trying to say is that the spread of conspiracy theories online is what she was doing. So she was using her much bigger platform to spread these theories of whether it be with the election being stolen, or there was a few other ones that she did, and it was kind of like, I heard one person call it a total abuse of power. Now, I'm not saying that some of the stuff she posted was appropriate, but that goes with every politician. Like some of the political commercials that we see on TV or the political ads, we don't see too much anymore now because the elections died down. But a lot of people say a lot of inappropriate things. And I love how the only people who get criticized for doing so are the ones that tend to identify more to the right or are the right. Some of the descriptions on why they chose to go after not only for the conspiracy theories was also that they said, and this is in their discussion, in their decision. I think it was it the House or the Senate floor? I think she's in the House. But anyway, this is for back in November. So this isn't even something she did currently. This is back in November. They decided to go after what they said the Trump squad, quote. So that was, they wanted to take down the squad. And it was like, well, how is that relevant to what's going on? Like just to go after someone because of things they did to win an election? If we had to like hold every politician accountable for things that they either said or publicized or, used to gain, following and to get more votes. What if we had held them accountable for everything they said? Everyone would be let go, we would have no one in the seats.
Yeah, I agree. You know what it is it's not that they say outrageous things. It's that it's more the right gets held accountable for what they say, even though both sides say what they say.
Yeah, it's just a continuation of that cancel culture. Like it's getting into the point now some politicians who don't agree with the mob or the majority are now being ousted because they have different opinions. And even, I'm not saying I love the girl, like she wasn't, someone that I really followed and was like, couldn't wait to support, but I feel like everyone should have the right to their opinion. And that's the beauty of our, governmental system is I don't want everybody in there who has the same idea. That's not how good things happen. That's why, in school, if you ever wondered why you had to do a lot of group projects, like with peers in your class, was because so you could integrate and have these social interactions with different people with different ideas and different viewpoints to help balance your own viewpoints. So if we had our government with everyone with the same idea, there'd be no objection. It would just be, it'd just be a little sheep walking around. They would get everything they wanted and they would never second guess themselves. So it's important to have people who have different ideas, not only around you in your personal life, but most definitely in a government setting. So,
oh, absolutely. One of the things that's a hit job on that too is if you think, like, consider what are they doing in, I'll ask a question and then consideration for it. What are they doing in universities now to try to protect people's ideas? What are they doing that when somebody has an insecurity about their position or belief, what is the thing that they've been taught to create in order to protect that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
You mean as far as like to protect their ego, to think that someone might think differently than them? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, their ideas. Yes. That's what do they call that?
I mean, as far as what the actual word to prevent it from happening?
Yeah.
Or the action itself? I'm not sure, actually.
Okay.
I know that.
Yeah, they call them safe spaces.
Safe spaces.
Oh, safe spaces. What they do is the intent behind it is, let's say that I have an insecure belief, or I have a belief that's so young, I'm insecure about its validity, or I just don't have a lot of defenses around the idea, right? So I like it. I like this idea, but I don't have a lot of defenses around it. So what they've done is they've created this idea, this thing they call safe spaces. And the safe spaces are these little bubbles, right? Like you're in this bubble, you're in this area of conversation. And let's say Joshua throws something out that criticizes or critically assesses and analyzes my position. I start to feel more uncomfortable and insecure about it. What they've done is they said, well, that's actually a microaggression. Right? And it's an aggression towards you. Most of the time they call those microaggressions, which is even to the point where if you make certain hand gestures, my insecurity could be something that I put on you and say, okay, if you do not play by the rules, you're going to have to get out of this space because you're making it unsafe for me to think here. That's the method. That's what it's coming to. And I look at it as an absolute absurdity because higher academia is a place where we're supposed to exchange ideas. So what they've done is they've created these bubbles of insecurity. So what it is, so like, let's say you're a professor and you're trying to teach something that doesn't necessarily have all of it's not all rooted in reality, but it has a root value enough that it's going to be built on later. So if I throw something at you, you're not really clear of it. You want the A. And if somebody else comes along and makes you critically assess it, the process of you developing the knowledge, or let's just call it what it is, being indoctrinated, if it interferes with the indoctrination, then it's going to make it harder for you to pass the test, or you'll start to question what they're telling you is true. So they've made it so that now these little bubbles can't be criticized. Now, instead of bubbles, it starts popping up all over the place. Why conservatives don't do well in a lot of campuses. So, and the groups are usually very small by comparison to the other groups. So you have critical race theorists, you'll have the equal opportunists, you'll have all these other people, or the equity groups that are all trying to tell you can't think away from us. You can't, you're not allowed to do that. So what it's created is this very large, powerful movement in universities. Well, it doesn't stop there. These people graduate, they go into public life, they get into office. The people in office are adapting to what they see the population, or where they see more control in the population. So if critical race theory gives you, or these kind of ideas give you more of an opportunity to say, I have more leverage here. I can get a vote out of these people. If I just speak their language, they're going to support me because I support them. Then you start creating a bigger division. So what it is that now you take that model of thinking, the critical, these thought bubbles, safe spaces, and you move that into the public sphere. Well, now people that oppose your beliefs, you've matured in believing that people that oppose your belief are creating an aggression towards you, a micro or whatever aggression. And aggression means insult. Aggression means attack against you. So now it's like, well, we got to get rid of these beliefs. We did it in university successfully. And then they start pushing. So now you've got politicians that adopted that mindset, or using those people, which I would say is more likely using those people than having the mindset themselves just yet, but they like the weaponization of it. And then they say, okay, well, now we can go after some of these people. So they start pushing conservative ideas out. So you see more people that do go to the Republican side become more rhinos, being that they don't really stand against, or they don't stand for true deep conservative views. They just want to stay in office. They go more towards the moderate and at times go into the left, even though they are conservative by election. So it's a perfect system, or it's not a perfect system. It's a really good system to get rid of your the person that opposes your beliefs. The problem is it creates what's called an echo chamber. An echo chamber is where everybody shares similar to the same ideas, and very, very, very few people will share something that opposes yours. And in an echo chamber, they actually don't do that. And if they do, they get pushed out. So it's a way of losing part of the group. It's losing your group if you have an opposing idea. Then you can't even share your ideas with other people if you do have opposing ideas, because it's no longer safe. You can lose your position. You can lose your place. So that's what I see is coming, but it's got to start somewhere. People are conditioned that way in colleges now. Like, not saying every single person, but I'm saying that you see a larger movement. It's why, of all people, Jordan Peterson can't speak at universities without having a massive protest. The man is a liberal. He's a liberal centrist, and he has conservative values, but because he has conservative values and he speaks them, he is the Nazi. He's a bad person, because that's what you do. You create an enemy of the person that has an opposing view. They're not really an enemy. They just have a different view. They are not somebody who's trying to take your life. They're just wanting to say something that it goes against you. And it may not necessarily go against you, but you've idolized the beliefs that you have in such a way that now you sit with this idea that you are your ideas. They're attacking you, not attacking your belief, or that they're questioning you, not questioning what you believe. No, it's an identity switch.
That's
so anyway,
like education, like not even just in like an educational, or political ideal way, but that's just dangerous. Like, that's not a good way to develop as a human being. That's like, as soon as I heard that mindset and what kind of is going on with the safe spaces and the echo chambers, it made me think of, I want to be a boxer, right? Let's say I want to get into boxing, but I'm only going to hit the heavy bag, right? That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to hit the heavy bag, and then I'll go have my first fight. I'll go out into the world, right? Because the world is not a safe space, people. So let's stop trying to treat it that way. You're going to come into, whether it be different ideas, there's different people out there. We are constantly battling different. Our whole, change is the only thing that's constant in the universe. So why are we trying to make these mindsets going back to the boxing rep, and then you just jump in the ring? Do you think it'll go well if you just hit the, bag doesn't hit back? That's the number one saying in boxing: bag doesn't hit back. So don't prep yourself to go out and live in the real world, where you're not in this somewhat enclosed university environment where you're going to be exposed to a lot of different people. Instead of exiting those people out, why don't you get to know them, and you might develop as a person too. So
I love that you used the boxing example.
Yeah.
Because what came to mind is, you remember Justin Bieber did the celebrity boxing thing?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Did you catch the fallout on what happened to him?
No, that was back in the day, right?
It was, back in the day, like 5 or 6 months ago.
Yeah, oh, really?
Recent.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It was fairly recent. So what happened, he got into a boxing match and they just paired him up with a person of color, right? Because if I say anything otherwise, I'm probably a racist, right? Because I can't speak. So he was in there with a person of color. He knocked the guy out. Afterwards, they gave an interview, and he was criticized. He was shamed because he won the match.
Really?
Don't you feel bad that you knocked a person of color out?
Oh no, I think you're thinking of. I think that was Jake Paul. I don't think that was.
Oh shit! Yeah. It was Jake Paul, not Justin Bieber. But Justin Bieber's gotten involved in mixed martial arts. I'm sorry, it's Jake Paul. Thank you, by the way.
Justin was trying to box like 4 years ago. And I remember, I don't think it was on Facebook. It was Instagram. And I was trying to fight Justin Bieber so bad. That's why I said back in the day, because it made me think of when Justin was trying to get into boxing. But yeah, Jake Paul. He was one who knocked out Nate Robinson, who was an ex-basketball player. And yeah, you're absolutely right. He was the one who's being accused. And Jake Paul was like, it's a sport. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're in a boxing match. You're in a fight. Okay. You're in a fist fight in a ring. I'm not worried about color the other person is, because they're trying to knock me the hell out too. So I got to knock them out before they knock me out. Yeah. That was crazy.
I apologize to our audience that I was off on the person, although they're very similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, it's the example is that's what happens with a safe space, because the belief becomes so overwhelming that it takes out a lot of the logic to things. So it's like you beat somebody in a fight, you're bad, you're wrong. And then they go into these other beliefs like systemic racism and things like that. They'll go into all kinds of things to try to defend it. So, all right. Yeah, it looks like your bandwidth is affected again, but that's all right. You're coming back. So anyway, if you're watching, if you see his screen freeze a little bit, it's just simply because it's the bandwidth issue, but his audio still going through. And it's not, this is a rare thing. So they're probably doing some work in this area.
I got my internet got the China virus. It's fighting it off right now.
What are you talking about? Then it would actually, it may actually be ill affected, but it's going to work really great in other places.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully I got the good one.
Yeah. All right. Let's I've kind of said what I had to say, at least in that area, but do you have anything else you want to throw into the safe spaces and with the political divide stuff? I mean, we could obviously go further, but for today's time, we'll
just more of the same. But we don't need to keep canceling people. You know, it's got to stop eventually. And if you are going to accuse someone of something, let's instead of just being able to remove, because now they don't have to vote on it sometimes because they have the majority in a lot of places, so they can just use their power to completely take people out, and that's not good. That's not good.
Yeah, and if that doesn't bother everybody who's listening, then it's time to wake up. Yeah, these people they're authoritarians. If you were not familiar with the way the government was originally designed by our forefathers, nearly every person that got into office prior to the 1800s were the people that would get into office, even into the early 1900s. They would work. They had their full-time jobs. They were farmers. They were people that they looked at it as a civic duty that they went in, they did their term, and then they left and somebody else would take over because their farms needed them. Their lives needed them. They were not career politicians. But now we've created this elite class. And if you don't think the career politicians are an elite class, you are sleeping. You are just someplace different, because one of those symptoms of an elite class is that they have specific benefits you do not have. Some of those benefits are there is a health care that the people that are in elected positions, especially in Congress, the Senate, and the presidency, have health care available to them that you cannot have access to. The health care policies that they have, you won't get. You can't get. It's specifically written for them to have the absolute best of the best. And it's for life after they've served, I believe it's 1 term. They also get their salary after serving. I think that's 2 terms on the salary. And then after that, it's guaranteed for life. So there's things that they get to write into their own benefit that you will not ever have unless you serve as one of these elected officials. So if you don't think that's a symptom of an elite class, you're wrong. You're asleep.
And not even healthcare. Just to top that off, going beyond some of the, more, I guess, tangible benefits you get, like healthcare and, salary. Think about how people who have been in political office are almost above the law in a sense. Like, I love how everyone has just moved on from the whole Jeffrey Epstein, what all went on in his plane. Like, it's been proven now that Bill Clinton was on that plane like 20 plus times. And I don't see any investigation going on about it, so they're almost immune or above the law in a way.
Yeah. So speaking of which, how do you feel about that, Jeffrey? We got a new producer, by the way. So if anything, we need to ask some questions or look into something later, like the merchandise I mentioned earlier. Jeffrey, let's make sure we get on that. Okay, bud? Don't talk back. Okay. All right. So we're going to get this thing. We're going to gain some real traction now. He's just over here hanging around. Yeah. I'll put him to work. Okay. All right. So it is not a good thing. What I see with this purge concept going on, where they're trying to remove people from their positions, their political, what groups they're a part of, from the politics, what committees they're on. There are people so let's say that we have the rhinos and the dinos in charge, and the progressives and the dinos are very similar. You see that the actual true conservatives, they're the ones that they're trying to purge them. So you have people that just don't give a shit. Like, a real conservative is one that they have their morals and they're going to sit on it. Right. Like, I was very disappointed to find out that, I forgot his name now. Dan Crenshaw is a rhino. Very disappointed to find that out. I liked him until he finally exposed himself. I'm like, damn son of a bitch. You were I really was like hopeful of this guy. No, but then he's going to have a long-term political career, most likely, because he's not going to go against the establishment. He's not going to push hard against it. He'll give enough, like Fox News did with all the other networks. The mainstream networks, Fox News stands alone. It is the only conservative one, but I don't even consider it conservative. I find them to be the same thing as a rhino in the sense that the majority of what they put out and what they're allowed to talk about is enough of an opposing view that makes the average conservative and or person like myself, not conservative, but conservative values, has more of a value on, okay, well, at least they're talking about it. It's a controlled conversation that still facilitates the same narrative. It's just the opposing view of that narrative. So you have companies like One American News. They're not going to they'll speak against the narrative, but they're also going to speak about things that add value against the narrative versus just the argument against the narrative, which the value against the narrative can have you break free of the narrative because you realize that it's there versus the I'm in the conversation, like the opposing views that Fox offers that just lets you know that they're opposing the other side, but all they're doing is facilitating the same narrative. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And as long as Chris Wallace has a show on Fox, it's going to be a Rhino network. Because if you don't know who Chris Wallace is, he's the dude who did the first presidential debate, and he is absolutely horrible. I'm not a fan of Chris Wallace at all.
Yeah.
So as long as he's on Fox, it's Rhino City. It's like Busch Gardens. The rhinos just running free out there.
Dude, I need to get a soundbite for rhinos. I gotta get it, and then he's just make sure everybody knows what it is, because that's definitely, that guy is something else. But all right, so go ahead.
Not even rhinos. So today's a big day, right? Today's we award Meme Wars, right? Meme Wars.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah. So let's pull it up, shall we?
Got.
Yeah. No rhino here, baby. These
No
people
rhino.
that are true patriots. These people right here.
Some funny
All right.
memes. I love the movement. Do you remember the first meme? You're like, what the hell is this thing? You see this picture, and now it's just like, man, there's meme stocks. Memes becoming its own entity. Pretty soon it's going to have a car. It's going to be driving around. You're just going to see memes everywhere.
All right. So this one, I'm going to put it in post, in the post. So throw it out there. But for last week's Meme Wars, the meme lord is, it's Roy on Facebook. I'll make sure that I tag you for this one. This one is the Wish meme, which is what you order on Wish versus what actually arrives. And that's the Donald J. Trump versus Hunter Biden, which, like I said, I'll put it in the post edits. But yeah, dude, that was the meme win. So he's the meme lord for the first week of February. Awesome job, Roy. Appreciate it, man. Keep it up. You were doing the Lord's work, my man. The Lord's work.
And that was a pretty good one. It's been interesting to see people's memes. I wonder, I'd like to know where the memes come from. Like, who makes it? Like, is it like an Instagram, or does someone just go and on Canva and just make memes and just pump them out and see if they become viral or not? But I mean, as soon as COVID hit, or 2020, everyone in the meme game, they stepped their shit up. I mean, it was like they were just pumping out good memes. So they keep getting better and better and funnier. One of my, they're just hilarious.
Yeah, dude, it's
changing too. They're changing.
Oh, I love it, dude. And how a meme happens, by the way, how you give birth to a meme. I've created a couple myself. It's a beautiful thing. It's one of those, it's just a majestic moment where you realize that something has logic, something is meaningful. And this is, if we set the Barry White tone to this baby and we just put it in there, we're just like, yeah, this is how it's going to work. This is funny. It's a funny way of looking at it. Let's just turn on some Netflix and let's chill our way into being irresponsible parents of this baby meme.
It's a meme.
And that's how it happens, baby. So
one hilarious one. It was in the Capitol, and it was during the when the Capitol storming was happening. And it was in front of the Capitol building. And it was all these people on the stairs, the whole Trump thing. And there was this guy. He set up this tent and was selling cheese fries, hot dogs right out in front. It was the best thing I've ever seen. That someone was like, we might as well just start selling stuff. Let's set up the tent. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah, dude. I freaking love that stuff. Yeah. Meme, baby. All right, let's get to it. We're gonna do Meme Wars now, or we'll do Meme Wars and then we'll do the stock stuff.
We can do some meme wars. Let's do some meme wars. We may let that stock stuff bleed into the next episode if we so choose. But it was just
all right. I do want to make sure that we touch on it because we did get some good feedback off of the stocks.
You want me to go ahead and do it? I'll go ahead and do it now.
Let's do stocks and then we'll finish off with meme wars. And then, yeah. So let's do it, babe.
So, and what we're referring to is the GameStop. Now, last week I did a very, very kind of glossed over explanation of what's happening. So, and again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a novice myself. I've actually done more research here in 2020 than I ever did. I really wasn't into it until then. I've had some friends who are pretty good at it and have given me some good feedback. So I'm just kind of just learning. But if you're wondering how it happened, so here's how it's happened. I'm going to try to do my best because if you follow finance,
brother. If you want to continue, I've just got to stop myself.
Okay.
I've got to check with you.
I'll continue. But if you're not really familiar with stocks, it can be kind of confusing. So I'm going to try my best. So when you buy a stock, right, when you buy a security, there's a few different things you can do. Number one, you can actually buy shares in that company. So that just means, when you go to buy Apple or when you buy any kind of stock, you're just going to buy a share. You're going to hold that security, okay, the actual security. And they all have different prices, right? So there, it could be 10, 20, it doesn't matter, all different prices. That's one way you can go about it. Another way you can go about it is called buying options, okay? So an option is the right, but not the obligation, to buy 100 shares of stock, whichever that stock may be, at a set price. It's called a strike price. So again, I told you it's kind of confusing, but here's what you can do. So let's use Apple, for example, right? Apple sharing, I think that's like $134 a share. So if I wanted to buy 100 shares of Apple, that would be like 13K and change, right? I'd have to spend quite a bit of money to control 100 shares of Apple. But with an option, I can control and I can reap the benefits and reap the profits of owning 100 shares of Apple, but without actually owning them. So I'll pay a premium, right? I'll pay a fee to control 100% of shares for a certain amount of time. It can be 6 months later, it could be a week later, it could be a year later, it doesn't matter. But again, remember, so you're buying it at a certain price. So let's say Apple shares are selling at $130 a share. I think Apple's going to go up long term. So I'm going to buy an option to buy stock at $140 a share for 3 months from now. So I can hold on to that option as the stock goes up. I can sell that option or I can buy the 100 shares at that price. And remember, the price went up, so I'm buying it less of a price than the stock's currently trading. So I'm going to make a profit. Okay, that's one way to do it. The other side of that is called shorting. So when you hear on the TV and it says short squeeze, what that means is a short is I'm not actually buying the stock. What I'm doing is I'm borrowing the stock, right? I don't own it. And I'm hoping that by borrowing it at a certain price, that later on the stock is either going to be at that price or lower. So I can make money. I can give back the shares that I borrowed at a increased value than when I received them. Okay. But here's the problem. I remember I said you have the right, but you're not obligated to buy stock when you buy an option. When you short, right? When you borrow shares, you are obligated. You take on that premium for taking on those shares, right? You make an income. But whenever that date comes, because remember, it's all about dates, whatever date it could be next week, next month. I've already explained this, right? But it's all about when that date comes, you're obligated. You have to buy it. So what these guys did, what this Reddit crew did, is they went in there and they bought up a bunch of GameStop stock, knowing that most of the shares were borrowed, right? The company didn't own all the shares. In this case, the hedge funds did. They were shorting the stock. So when you're buying it, right, that's going to cause the value to increase. So remember, they want the stock to go down. They don't want it to go up. They wanted to buy it at a certain price to where they can make money. So these guys were buying it. Stock was going up. And then once the date came, right, it took a couple of months. Once the date came for them the hedge funds to give back their shares that they borrowed, they were SOL. They had to buy a bunch of stock that was really expensive and they didn't have the capital for it. So what they had to do was when they bought the shares, then they had to buy more shares of the company, right? That's already in fluctuating, right? The price is going up to cover their losses. So it just snowballed into this. And it's it's quite amazing that someone was able to do this. And if you're a little confused, don't worry. Like stocks it's really confusing. Again, I'm a novice, so I don't know anything, and maybe probably explained some of that wrong. But I think I got most of the point out. But it's finances, it's crazy, and these guys just figure out how to do it. And I think this is going to lead. It's a good example of how social media is really changing our lives in a lot of different ways. The basis on which we can have communication and we can connect with one another is growing at an exorbitant rate, right? So first, we really saw it kind of, maybe, subconsciously or consciously, you've noticed bits here and there, but definitely during the election, we saw that, social media is very powerful, and it can draw a lot of people to a certain idea. Even if they don't necessarily completely understand the idea, they can be drawn to it. So with reference to, now going away from more political on social media, now we got people actually going in the financial markets, exploiting or not exploiting, maybe using social media to their advantage to more group together and to, I guess, in a sense, fight against, the elites in a way. I mean, the stock markets have always been controlled by hedge funds. The more money you have, the more capital you have, the more you can move the market. If you're an individual investor, you're just more so hanging on for the ride. You're trying to predict what they're doing. It's like, I always say, it's like bringing a BB gun to a war. There's tanks out there. They're the tanks. They're the cavalry. They're the people really in charge. And the fact that the internet was able to beat these guys once it's quite historical. And I'm interested to see moving forward what kind of impact this is going to have in different avenues. Now that we've had, politics touched on, we've had, financials touched on. I'm wondering how this is going to spread. And it could be a benefit. It really could help maybe really expose more of how much control these people have in our lives, not just in, censoring what we say or, controls on Facebook, but how much control they have in our finances. Like they really, if you've invested in the market, then, sometimes you lose money. And sometimes when you lose money, it doesn't make sense. And it's because we have no control of it. They have control over it, but we've exposed that they have control over it now. So you're going to see some lawsuits come out of this. You're going to see some people, maybe lose their jobs, maybe go to jail. That's what a lot of people are saying, that people need to go to jail for this. But it's very historical. It reminded me of like a battle where the other side really, really, took for granted or underestimated their opponent. And in this case, the internet won. It really did. So it'll be cool to see how that continues to develop. They were limiting shares. So in order to keep the share down, and to prevent people from buying more GameStop, they were limiting the amount of shares that people could buy, which again is going to make the price, go down because they want to have to buy all their shares back. And if you're kind of on the fence about, the elitists or, the globalists, I guess a lot of people call them as well, then this should be an eye opener for you. And not even if you're into the, conspiracy theory or, the Illuminati, but just in the fact how there are people pulling the strings, and there are people who really do impact your life more than you think you do. And if that's the case and you're kind of on the fence, or maybe you're a little unaware or, not uneducated, I guess, in that sector, then, start doing your own research. It only takes a few minutes a day. I mean, even if you spend, like we spend time on our phones doing Facebook or just kind of scrolling, maybe you have, more political or more informational, type feeds, or, earlier I called it the wall. Do you remember MySpace was called the wall? So maybe your wall or news feed is more political, so you are getting some good information. But again, it's just important to research things. It's important to make sure we spend our time wisely, and that we get the most out of what we use our phones for, because the phones, they follow you. If you haven't read what technology, especially Instagram, their new terms of agreement are crazy. So they have the right to look through your pictures. They have the right to follow you on GPS. They have the right to listen in on phone conversations. They have the right to read your text messages. They have the right to go through whichever technological device, whether it be a computer, whether it be a smart TV, whatever's connected to your network, because you signed up to their terms of agreement, whatever phone, whatever device you're using for Instagram, they have the right to go through your network and also check all the other devices in your house. So computer, smart TV, phone. So privacy is going away. I mean, even last night, me and my significant other, we went out to, Dunedin, which is, it's here in Florida. And when we got home, she had a Facebook update asking her about the place that we went to. So it's getting a little out of hand. I mean, it's, whenever you go on, the internet and look up something you want to buy, and then all of a sudden you get Amazon ads that pop up nonstop about that, that product or that service you wanted to buy. All you see is ads for the next 2 weeks. That's that data sharing. That's what we were talking about earlier in the episode, that they can literally follow everything you do. And there's ways you can prevent it. So I know someone who used to work for Ask Jeeves, and he told me that you can go in your computer, and I'm not very technical, so again, I might explain this wrong, but you can go in your computer and you can choose to have your cookies not be saved somehow. You just go in, say, don't save cookies again, and that they won't, cookies are kind of like a little paper trail. They follow you when you go on the internet. So on your computer, you can choose to not have your cookies followed. I'm pretty sure on your phone you can do it, but I haven't really figured out how to do it. Again, my technical inexperience. But there's ways we can prevent it. And, just be careful about what you show on social media. Be careful about what you look up on your phone, or, if you have cameras in your house, if again, like I said, if you have like a Google Nest, or if you have like a Ring and you have agreed to the terms of agreement to the new Instagram, and you use your Instagram on your network, then that means they have access to anything on your network, which means they have access to your Ring, so they can look into your home. They can list. It's crazy. So just make sure that that we try to limit how much social media knows about us. And I can't wait till they come out with that no data sharing, where you can at least opt out if you want your data shared. Because in that way, it's more of just kind of what you've built up to that point, I guess. You can kind of just look through stuff that you actually have interest in, not what the algorithm is kind of wanting you to look at, or, trying to predict what you look at. So it's going to be interesting moving forward to see how much that changes social media. But it's I hear a lot of people talk about civil war. I hear a lot of people talk about, recession, or, oh, we need a revolution. And I don't think, if there is a revolution in our lifetime, or if there is a civil war in our lifetime, I hope not. But if there is, I don't think it'll be what we think it'll be. It'll be more internet, tech. It'll be a different kind of revolution. And I think it'd be fair to say that this whole GameStop, short squeeze thing that's been happening, it could be, I don't want to say the start of it, but it could be a glimpse of how that people can use the internet on their side more to gather together. And that doesn't mean everything that was good, about the shorting of the stock. It doesn't mean that people didn't lose money. There's a lot of people out there that lost money. So not everything was good about the GameStop situation. But just to kind of band together a little bit more and let them know, there's power in numbers, and we need to use it to connect to one another more, not be censored, not be, deplatformed. In some cases, I don't think any of us will be deplatformed, but it'll be important moving forward, and it's starting out. It really is.
All right, now it's time for the meme wars.
All right, this week's meme wars going down. We had a strong winner.
Time, baby. There we go. All right, so here we go. Now, when it comes to interracial marriage, too many of our brothers are not marrying our sisters. Ilhan Omar, hold my hookah pipe. You know about that, right? Where she's like supposedly married her brother.
That's fun.
Yeah, baby. Oh,
where'd you find this one?
That was on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, that was another one from Roy. Here you go. Yeah, Smollett School of Victimology. This is for Miss AOS. That is Alexandria Ocasio Smollett. Yeah. Now, that was a person that goes under the label of Liberty. All right. Nobody can lose viewers faster than us. Newsmax, hold my pillow. Oh, Newsmax really screwed it up. Yes. AOC memes, man. These things are actually going to be like the Bernie Mitten memes, I swear.
I know.
All right, this one. All right, this one is AOC, and she's on the beaches of Normandy. Look at that. She was there, baby. All right, gorillas. It literally. Godzilla. Sorry, Godzilla is literally a god. Shoots fire, has regeneration, and is an apex predator. King Kong. Okay, so basically, I'm a monkey. if trailers were real life, you know.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm pretty much the same thing, just bigger.
Oh, this one. Oh man, this one's not safe for work. All right, if you got young kids, shelter their eyes. Latoya threw this one up there. This is Taylor Swift's 500 songs about guys leaving her and 0 songs about. Hey, Jeffrey, am I allowed to say this? No? Okay, we'll let him read it.
Yeah, we can't say it.
See where I'm going with this?
We got shut off.
Thank you, Jeffrey. At least you're doing something around here. All right, AOC during the insurrection. Notice how many photographers there were. And with this, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the guy at the horns, he had made some requests about what he needs. So he wants organic food. He's on a hunger strike. All of this sounds conservative, right? No, and I believe he's also labeled as a shaman. And there's videos of him at BLM riots as well. Peaceful protests. So he's got him all over the place. So yeah, but we're supposed to believe that guy he was a solid patriot. There was a lot of crap going on around that too. Like people saying, oh no, he's a Marine. He was undercover. There was a camera in the horn. I'm like, come on, man. This is not a movie.
This isn't CSI.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. All right. Oh, I almost died, Kitty. No, you didn't. You weren't there, Kitty. Neither were you. For any of you that don't know, there's also timestamps on how everything went down. The person that she heard outside of her office was an officer. She made it identity politics immediately it was a white man wearing a black beanie cap. He was one of the police officers that were coming to make sure she was safe. Now, she's freaking drama queen of the week. Actually, not even drama queen of the week. She's just a Smollett.
This was what? This was a political representative that made these accusations?
Yeah.
Yeah. That she was what? Barricaded in her office and she felt someone at the door. She saw someone walk by and then claimed that they were a Trump supporter, but they're actually a police officer.
Yes.
Fancy that. Interesting.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time that they've made claims that were incorrect, would it be?
All right, let me get back to these. I realized I didn't put my screen share on because I'm a goddamn amateur. All right, here's your interracial one here with, the brothers and sisters not marrying their sisters. Hold my hookah. The Smollett School. Here you go. Give it a little bit of time here. Victimology. Yeah. We got the nobody loses viewers faster than us, and that's Newsmax. It's Fox. And then
there's Chris Wallace's ass right there. That's the guy I'm talking about, people.
That was the guy right there. You see him?
That's the mastermind. That's the head rhino.
Know that face.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. Here you go, baby. That's that World War. Or this is the beaches of Normandy. And who's that right there? She was there, baby.
Yep, she was there.
There's your Godzilla one. Yeah, I apologize, everybody. I wasn't exactly recording on the screen share at the right time, but there's your Godzilla versus King Kong. So basically, I'm a monkey. Taylor Swift. Easy, Taylor. Easy. There you go. Now, if you see all of these, there's the photographers. You see the cameras, but it looks like, oh, how many people are in there? That's crazy. Now, you've got just a couple of people that actually are supposedly the insurrectionists. But you know what? There was an argument, or somebody threw it out there. We had a couple of broken windows at the Capitol, and yes, an officer did die. And that's unfortunate. To say that is a worse atrocity than people losing their livelihoods and officers being murdered in the street, shot in their cars, babies getting shot in their vehicles, all under the right moniker. This is worse than those things that happened throughout 2020. Whatever.
Yeah, and
all right, here you go.
It's even nitpicking. It's not just that, that one is better than the other. It's the fact that they choose to show that one has the the appearance to be better than the other. So it's not that Chad's not saying that we don't regret what happened at the Capitol building, especially with the loss of life, but how they choose to promote certain loss of life in their favor versus not, to just be straight across the board and explain how it's all wrong. So just a little bit.
Yeah. Spot on with it.
Yeah.
Plus, DC was on fire in the summer, and it was not by a Trump rally.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's a little bit of a map, just to make sure everybody's aware where the U.S. Capitol is. You got a little building right here. And then if you look at Google Maps, thank you so much. Got a little house triangle. Yeah, that's good. And then we got Rep. Katie Porter's office right here. And then, look, Cannon House office. Oh, this is exactly where Rep. AOC's office is versus where the insurrection was happening.
Oh, interesting.
Supposed insurrection.
Trumpers can teleport. They should know that,
Yeah.
They've had that ability. Everyone knows that. They can teleport.
She almost died. She also accused Ted Cruz of trying to kill her.
That sounds like a conspiracy theory. We should remove her from office. We just did that. We might as well continue to do it. This looks like a conspiracy theory to me. I mean, just basic understanding of distance, that we have the Capitol building at the top. We got her office at least a block away. They must be onto some kind of teleportation device. We should really look into this further too.
If you look at the timestamps as well, when she was posting this stuff, I'm in fear for my life. Here, Twitter, get my information.
That's a conspiracy theory, people. That is what it is. Look at it. It's conspiracy. It's claiming that events happened that didn't.
Yeah.
Removal. I mean, we just did it. Removal. No, that won't happen.
This is how you earn the Smollett last name. This is it right here.
Yep.
All right. This is great for February. In 1995, Smokey became the first Black man to get catfished. Black history. You guys remember that? I just ate 3 times before I got here.
Oh, it's such a great movie, too.
You got to be hungry.
Such a great movie. You said you look like Janet Jackson. Hell no. Oh, such a great movie. Every time it's on, I gotta watch it. I stop what I'm doing and I watch it.
Yeah, that should be there right after Die Hard on Christmas night. Yeah. Oh, all right. There you go, baby. Whenever you're ready. Would you do this one? That hurt your feelings, right? Good. Okay. Hey, all right. So Newsmax, my fellow, you get him, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, let me do this here. I got to move these around so I can see who's who. All right. Back here, that's Rachel. Angel. This one actually was another one from Roy. Apparently, I just don't like putting his name on these. Not against you, Roy. I just forget sometimes. There's Rachel's. All right. Here's one from Pablo Jr. All right. So problem solved, baby. There you go. We got men, women, Democrats, right in the middle.
Figure it out.
Bathroom problem solved.
Yep. Figure it out.
Oh, I love this one. Yes, I ain't no circle back girl. No, you are not.
God, that girl circles back. Jeez Louise. She's got no clue. Like, they just send her out there. And she's like, I don't even know how to answer that question.
Yeah, and from what I've read recently, all of the questions are screened.
So he knows about them?
They have to submit the questions and be approved in order to go in to ask the questions. So she's got the questions, and she's still she's a circle back girl.
How did she get in this position? That's like having the answers to the test and failing the test.
I mean, I don't mean to sound rude by answering that, but Biden got in his position.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
You look like you're
God, I love this one. All right, I'm not trying to like bait it out, okay? But all right, so this is Liberty. But all right, so if you're familiar with Trailer Park Boys and you're familiar with Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, you're gonna love the new fashion icon, Bubbles Harris.
Bubbles Harris. Is this a real person, or is this a?
It's a meme generated, but Kamala's daughter looks a lot like her stepdaughter.
Really?
Looks like Bubbles. And she has a modeling career now. Yeah, she is official model. And it is everything that I don't want to look at.
Yeah.
So,
Did you ask her if she was a she? It looks like she has that necklace
know.
around her neck from the movie Lucifer. It like goes into that saber. Like, what is that necklace she's got? That
not a clue. It looks like the
a
candy
nail.
stuff, and then like there's maybe a warpness at the bottom. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it does look like it's one of those little candy necklaces. Like she gets hungry.
Right?
It's just to help with the glucose in the moment. Like, it's sympathy with glucose.
You never know.
Yeah. All right. That's how I feel about the vaccine, but that is really how I feel about the vaccine.
I like it. How accurate.
Yeah. Oh, that should be on somebody's back as a tattoo.
Right?
Do it. That is not my suggestion. Do not try to make me responsible for that. You are an autonomous human being. You're responsible for your own actions.
Snow White said enough's enough.
But hey, you know what? Here's the great thing. We can get the vaccine twice and still have to wear our protective coverings because we are sheeple.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you. All right. Oh, this one's great for all the Snopes lovers, or Snoops or whatever, freaking whatever. Remember, these two were Snoops until 2015 when this guy divorced this woman and embezzled $98,000 from Snoop's money and spent it on prostitutes. Now he's married to this former hooker who is hired as a Snoops staff member. So recap, Snoops is this guy, his ex, and a 1990s hooker, and maybe a cat.
I'm talking about, right?
I love the credibility.
Look at that cat.
The
big cat.
And that cat needs insulin. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that can have issues. That's a big girl.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh, you're talking about the cat? Okay. Yeah. Oh my God. So let's get this. So when somebody uses a lot of the sources they use for credibility, man, I just look at it and go, why didn't you use the Babylon Bee or the Onion?
I know.
Why not? I mean, it's the crap that they actually publish and try to say that it's true is like the Facebook fact checkers. It's like Biden did not invest money in his fortune into, Chinese investments or whatever. And it's like partially false or mostly false. He kept 17 cents back in 1978 from doing it. It's like, come on, man. This is what is called the propaganda war.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Snoops, for introducing the propaganda war.
Yeah.
All right, that was another one from Roy, by the way. All right. Anyone who says I'm not a lady can suck my... Can I say it? No, I can't say it. All right.
Accurate.
Oh, the drug choices. We got heroin before and after. We got meth before and after. We've got weed before and after. That guy looks like he's sad. Then look at that smile.
Right? That guy looks like he's sad.
Yeah. But you know what? He probably injected his weeds through a coffee mug with a little bowl attached to it.
Absolutely. You just got to get it rolling.
And then we got the final and the worst of them all. We've got NBC, CNN, BBC, Fox News, CBS, ABC, and MSNBC. Before and then after, major transformation there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I mean, he looks like a fine, outstanding gentleman. And then look at that.
Yeah.
He's got a nice little fleece on. Huh.
He can't even hold the backpack anymore.
No, he probably can't. Or if he does, it's, never mind. This one, without words, not necessary. Look at that. What is this virus again?
Right.
Okay, well, let's say it's the Chinese virus. Oh, we're memeing it up, baby.
From China.
Oh, and then, of course, we know who's pulling the strings. Dr. Evil with Hillary's head and Mini-Me with Kamala Harris's.
I know. They're so alike. It's not even funny.
That's it for Meme Wars, ladies and gentlemen. So back to
it's a freaking good one.
That stuff off. All right, we're going to close it up. But remember, guys, gals, and all you badass patriots out there, and anybody else who's sticking their flag where it belongs, like myself and Joshua, remember, if you're going to be voting on these meme wars, you can put it in the comment sections. You could also reach out, like the last one won because it was some of the participants from our social medias that gave the vote that reigned it in unanimous. So with that, same thing, cast your votes. We're going to elect another meme lord, air by next Saturdays or by next weekend's scheduled our next episode. So please throw it on in there. Let's see who can break the veil of absolute significance with some value, some information with humor, and let's see who the next one's going to be. Now, Joshua, you got anything else for us, my man?
I mean, the memes are stepping up. I like the interaction. I mean, this week's memes compared to last week's. I mean, last week's were really good, but this week's was funny. So keep it up. I love the interaction. Again, don't forget to comment. Please we want to make more of a conversation with the viewers, with our viewers, as well as Chad and I's conversation. It'd be nice to maybe bring up some points that you guys are, maybe disagree or agree. Also, just to let you guys give you a little teaser, we're going to have our first guest this month. It'll probably be a couple weeks, but we're going to have our first special guest, someone who's really going to be able to bring some insight to the channel, to bring you some direct information that they learned working in the government and still currently works in the government. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait. You guys are going to love it. So stay tuned for that and keep up the support. We love it. We love the feedback. We're getting feedback now. Keep it going, guys. We really appreciate it. We really do.
Absolutely. So find out just pick wherever it is that you want to watch this from. Whether it is in the future, we're going to put out some podcasts, so you won't be able to see it, but you'll be able to listen to it and listen while you're driving or whatever. Also, we are on my preferred platform, which is Rumble. We're also on YouTube. You can find some of us, like both of us individually, on Facebook, Instagram. So we are growing. BitChute will be launching a BitChute one soon. We are putting together more options to be able to get to us. So with that, we also do have a couple of people that have been talking to us about sponsorship. So we're moving along. We're definitely building up here. We're going to get some merchandise here pretty soon too. Not sure exactly when we're going to launch that, but we are working on that as well. So stay tuned. If you're on Rumble, remember to hit that little boxing icon, get that little punch in there. That does help us out quite a bit. And that'll help us grow the channel, improve our backgrounds, and put together the full studio, not just using my office and using Joshua's his apartment here. So with that, again, this is Sir Chad Everett Broshears, and I am one of the hosts of Waking the People, and I'm with my co-host,
Joshua McClendon. You're Joshua McClendon. Have a great weekend, guys. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, go Bucks. It was a fun episode. I think we touched on a lot of stuff that needed to be said. So, look into next week. I know we mentioned that we were going to do some space exploration talk. I know we left a teaser in the last episode, so we may have to get that to the next episode. So have a great weekend, guys. Thank you for listening and for all that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Remember, we're all in this together. We don't have to hate our neighbors if we disagree with them. All right. Till next time. See ya.